Hi folks, my name's Sean McCusker. I'm an artist, curator, and all-around art lover. I want to do something a little bit different today and show you a little bit of the art making process. I've shown you a lot about how to install and exhibit artwork, but today I want to show you how I make my pieces. Particularly, I'm going to be showing how I do these silver pen on black panel pieces. I did a lot of these for my large solo show at the Beckett Art Center. They did really well, a lot of great reception to them, and they're developed a lot quicker than my oil paintings, which take 3 months. So I'm going to be in a large gallery exhibit in North Adams at Gallery North, along with a few other artists throughout the summer, and I want to work out a bunch of these pieces for that exhibit. So with that in mind, let me show you a little bit how I produce these drawings. I'll be showing how I produce these silver pen on black panel pieces. These are 10 inches by 10 inches and best for me to film with. Firstly, I need to sketch a composition. I always like to sketch white onto black. You can easily pick up one of these pads at any art store. Next, I use a wood panel. At this size, I like to buy my panels, but for larger oil paintings, I make my own out of MDF. They have a nice depth to them, which I prefer, and are a better match for my oil paintings. I then prime the panel with black gesso. This one only has one coat on it, so you can still see the wood grain coming through. I usually apply 2 to 3 coats of gesso. You may need to sand it down to remove any bumps from the surface, which is more important if you are going to varnish the piece afterward. Traditionally, I would draw on this surface and varnish it when complete. The varnish will darken the black of the background and give me a decent contrast with my silver pen. However, now I apply a coat of Musso black, which is a black that has more of a matte finish and gives a much greater contrast for the silver pen. The downside is you lose most of the effect if you varnish afterward, so the surface is not protected with varnish. As you can see, compared to the gessoed panel, it's much darker. Once varnished, the gesso panel gets slightly darker, but not quite as dark as the Musso black. If I were to varnish the Musso black, it would lighten somewhat because reflections would get involved. The reason Musso black is so dark is because it's not reflecting the light at all. First, I need to work out an idea for the piece. I've been working in trees lately, so my one goal was to have at least a single tree in the composition. Now, not all sketches become art, but not every sketch immediately develops either. For video presentation purposes, I started this session from scratch, but I often start with an existing page or thumb through an old sketchbook when looking for ideas. So some of these sketches are likely to turn into full-fledged drawings later. Ultimately, what caught my imagination was the idea of a tree on one of my figures. It was a wonderful connection between different objects in my work and something I had never thought to do before. The difficulty in the concept was making it so that the figure didn't have a hump and differentiating the tree on its back from the background. If this were a sketch for a painting, color would differentiate the background, but as a black and white drawing, I needed to use other techniques and compositional tricks to do this. That difficulty is why you see me sketching so many times in different sizes in order to work out the elements. Another difficulty using Musso black is that any mark I make on the panel will contrast with the matte black finish. Even an eraser mark would show up. So I'll need to make every mark only once on the panel. Because of this, I work out how I will define the composition through multiple sketches at a larger size before working on the panel. With the outline applied, I begin the process of sculpting the world. I like my marks to build up. The reason I draw white onto black is that I'm essentially drawing the light as it would interact with the objects in the scene. As you can see, I move the panel around in order to give my hand the best angle for my mark making. I'm also trying to keep my wrist from touching the surface and potentially smudging any fresh ink. For filming purposes, I cut out the times that I would stand up and look at the piece from afar. This is a very important step for the artist, but not entertaining in video form. The final step is to inscribe my name on the side of the panel. I use a template to make sure all of the text is consistent and level. Well, I hope you enjoyed that glimpse of my art making process. It was sure a lot of fun to do, and I've got a lot more of them to work on for my show at Gallery North in North Adams, again opening June 1st. So please come to the gallery, and if you like this video, please put a like on it and subscribe. It really helps out quite a bit. And until next time, I hope you enjoy making some art. Take care.